Moving on, Mike Coppinger says, source tells The Athletic that Gervonta Davis has vacated his WBA junior lightweight title and now campaign at 135 pounds as he seeks to become a two-division champ. Tank now occupies the same weight class as Vasily Lomachenko and perhaps setting the stage for a pay-per-view showdown. I think I will also add to this, I think I saw that he was ranked already at 135 pounds in the WBA.
Number one, yeah.
Yeah, so, guys, thoughts on Gervonta Davis moving up to 135? Is he chasing Loma, or is he just naturally, he just has to move up in weight class at this point?
Well, you think if he's naturally moving up, he'd be about 175. But no, yeah, I guess so. What is there for him at 130? Really? Who's he? Who could? I don't know.
Farmer.
Who's fights? He just won't. He doesn't take them.
There's two good fights. There's two good fights. That's it.
Berchelt and Farmer. Yeah. I mean, he could have either one of those fights.
Farmer's not happening. Get over it. All right. Leonard won't let him out to play.
Makes no sense because he beats
Leonard. Well, Floyd. Let's be honest. Floyd.
All right, Leonard.
Because Leonard's the mouthpiece. We know that.
Yeah, but
Floyd won't let him out. Floyd won't let him out to play. Period. Like not even with Farmer. Like they don't let him fight good opposition. Period. It seems.
I just wonder who this pay-per-view dance partner is that is making.
Well, Mike is talking about a Loma pay-per-view. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's going to be fighting Gamboa for the regular belt.
Well, of course, but that's not what Mike is talking about. He's not saying that Gervonta Davis and Gamboa is the pay-per-view showdown that they're setting the stage for. The Loma fight.
Is this an ESPN pay-per-view?
It would be a joint pay-per-view.
Yeah,
joint pay-per-views happening. I love it.
Well, that's what they would try to do. Obviously, you're acting like this is like we're making this up. Like that's what they would do, right, Rob?
Are you talking about Fury being a joint pay-per-view? I mean,
Fury is a joint pay-per-view.
Any different? So I mean, yeah. I mean, why would this wouldn't be any different? I just think
Rob, do you think that this would be only an ESPN pay-per-view or like only a Showtime pay-per-view? Like,
I don't know. Let's see it get made. I'm just going off like what we've seen.
Look, I've already said I don't think it happens, but I'm saying if the pay-per-view you're talking about is, and the one that Mike is talking about, Mike Coppinger is talking about is Loma Gervonta, and you asked what network, it's ESPN and Showtime, obviously.
I don't know why it's obviously, but it's all right.
Because Loma's an ESPN fighter and Gervonta Davis is a Showtime fighter.
What, signed, sealed, can't?
No, they fight on the ESPN. They fight on Showtime. You act like you don't know this, Rob.
No, I don't know that. He's not a network free agent, Tank?
I just said he's not signed, but he fights on Showtime. He's a Showtime fighter. He hasn't fought on Fox once in the Fox deal.
All right, I'm just saying he's a network free agent.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Rob. Weird.
I'm just wondering.
I don't know what I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're saying, Rob. I don't know what your point is. You're not making a point. You know that, right? You're just asking weird questions that you want to sort of get an answer from and then not make your actual point. Make a point.
Did Mike Coppinger say this is a joint pay-per-view?
No, but that's what it would be. And again, I asked you point blank and you didn't answer. Do you think it would be an ESPN or a Showtime pay-per-view only?
Well, I think ESPN more than Showtime.
So yes or no, do you think they would only make this a ESPN pay-per-view?
I don't know.
Like, there doesn't need to be an argument. You can just answer a question. It's easy.
I'm not having an argument. You're the one shouting over people. I'm just sat here. I didn't even say anything. I was making faces. Like you.
I know you were making faces, and I'm responding to those faces, Rob. Like you respond to my faces. Okay.
I want to see the Showtime ESPN Fury Wilder fight get.
Well, no, that's Fox. Remember?
Well,
that's
all right.
not Showtime.
I want to see a PBC ESPN merged pay-per-view before I'm ready to say there's going to be another one and another one and another.
So wait, do you think we're not saying there's going to be a ton of them? We're just saying that that's how it would be for a Loma Gervonta fight. That's how it would have to be made. Because like you have said and we have said, they're not letting him out to play for other networks. So it would have to be a joint pay-per-view.
Then it doesn't mean that the fight's even made.
No one said Gervonta Loma was made. No one did anyone say
Why are you shouting? Why are you shouting?
Because I don't know what you're getting at. Like, did anyone say Loma Gervonta Davis was made?
Yes.
Who said?
No one
In
did.
the scenario, we are, aren't we?
In the scenario, if it were to be made, it would have to be a Showtime and ESPN joint pay-per-view.
I don't know that it has to be, Matt.
It has to be because the point you made, Rob, that
Well,
Leonard
the
Elby and
Netflix
Mayweather
free
Promotion.
agent.
No, that Mayweather and Mayweather Promotions will not let Gervonta Davis leave the block, their side of the street. You made that point, Rob.
Yeah, immediately I'm saying, does it even happen? That's
And I said it probably doesn't happen. But I'm saying if it were to happen, it would have to be a joint pay-per-view because of the point you made, and I agree with.
I don't know, because I'm not convinced we're going to see that scenario play out with Fury Wilder or Spence.
So wait, you don't think Wilder Fury is going to happen at all now? You think that's a myth? Bob Arum, Tim Smith, Wilder Fury, everyone's on the media saying it's happening. It's joint Fox, it's joint ESPN. Agreements are in place. That's just a myth.
No, I'm not saying it's a myth. I want to see it happen so I believe it with my own eyes. So
you don't do you not believe it now?
It's happening, or you just want to see if it actually pans out to be a successful.
It pans out that it's a joint pay-per-view. That this is all as it's, because it's all a bit.
It's not a new concept, Rob. We've had joint pay-per-views before.
How many?
We've had 2. No, 3. Sorry, 3. 3 in the pay-per-view era, because obviously the pay-per-view era started in the 90s.
I don't know. When did it start for you guys? I've got no idea.
My big question is,
I don't know.
What does it matter if Tank moves up 135?
To everybody here. The fuck.
I think here the bigger questions are, if Tank's not taking any challenging fight at 130, why is he going to take any challenging fights at 135?
We've all said that he probably doesn't take a Loma fight. We've all been in agreement on that. Like that, that's never been the argument.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, who else does he fight? Would they even put Tank in with like a Campbell? Like, I don't know. I wonder, because he hasn't had a real fight since Pedraza. Like, there hasn't been a tough fight for Tank since Pedraza.
Expect, obviously, the Gamboa fight probably to be first, because they were teasing that at 130. I think 135 has been a move to help both those guys out with the weight cut. But is Richard Comey an ESPN fighter? Like, in theory, obviously Richard Comey has a couple fights lined up next. But he's a Lou DiBella guy, right? Like, he's a guy that isn't a ESPN top-ranked guy. He could be moving back to PBC. He obviously fought Robert Easter. Robert Easter's obviously in the division, so they can make a Easter Gervonta Davis fight. Even though I think they are friends, they could make that fight. Francis Bartholomew is in the division. I'm trying to think of who else is in that PBC stable. That's about it, I want to say, from like top guys, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because Campbell, Haney, and who else? Cordina. That's all Matchroom DAZN. Loma, Tifima Lopez. That's ESPN. Richard Comey is a quasi ESPN fighter at this point. There's guys like I would be happy with a Gervonta Davis Robert Easter fight. Right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think that would probably be the toughest fight he's had in his career at this point, honestly.
I mean, outside of Pedraza, that's the only real live body he will have fought.
Yeah. There's certain names that you could fight. There's not a lot of depth. But then again, there's not a lot of depth at 135, honestly. There's a lot of young guys at 135, but there's not a lot of depth of established guys in the division. Like, think about the top 10. The top 10 is filled with prospects that haven't proven themselves yet. A la Devin Haney, Tifima Lopez, Joe Cordina could honestly slip in the top 10 if you're being generous, just because the division doesn't have established names. Anything else, guys?
No, man. I hope he takes some real fights. Let's see if, the eye test is great, but the actual getting in the ring and having the fight and proving yourself is the better test.
Absolutely. I will say this. 135 has more in-house names for him than 130. So that's a good thing. hopefully, because it definitely seemed like they only were making in-house fights for Gervonta Davis. Abner Mars, Leo Santa Cruz, Gary Russell Jr. were all mentioned with Gervonta at some point, right? Those are all in-house names. I expect that's to continue moving forward. But at least 135 has talented PBC names there. 130 had no one. And 130 was a worse division overall. Moving on, some of the Shakur Stevenson video. Oh, my God. This is IFL video that we're getting off of Twitter with Bob Arum and Tony Bellew, right? Rob, is that Tony Bellew? Yeah, that's Tony Bellew.
Yeah.
He's looking a little pudgy, man. He can go out for some sprints, man. Looking like a heavyweight right now.
He was a heavyweight, and he's retired, so.
Okay, Rob. Mr. Sensitive.
If he's looking like
It really is. It really is.
He just said he's looking like a heavyweight. That's what he was.
Because he was a cruiserweight, really, let's be honest.
Okay.
His last fight wasn't a heavyweight.
No, well, yeah, I guess so.
Yes! Gunshots.
Do you think by the time the fight started, he was a cruiserweight?
Yes.
After weighing in, was he probably a cruiserweight?
Oh my God, that was so good. Anyways, moving on. I just love the pause. That was the best part. Was the shit? He's right. He fought Usyk. Damn it. That fight wasn't a heavyweight. But.